that I'm talking to you is that, you know, I've been writing with the Indy for a very long time, and I am now the editor. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to showcase some. Am I far enough away? Can I do this without?
Take it off, yeah.
You know, I wanted to showcase people who were still among us, and you know, have this great background and history of contributing to not just our community, but to the country and so forth. And you know, you were one of the first ones that I thought of that, because I always saw you around so many places that, you know, belong to the same stuff Dad did. So I thought you'd be a great one to start with.
Driving the school bus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 28 years.
Well, let's go back even further. When you enlisted in the Navy, okay, always trying to do things that weren't allowed, you enlisted at 17.
Yeah.
So what were you? What was your rank? Where did you serve?
I went into the Navy and they dropped the atomic bomb. So that a week later they put me in a train that took me over to the West Coast.
Okay.
And from there, from Treasure Island, they took me to the Philippines. When I got to the Philippines, they put me on an LST 916.
Can remember that. Oh, he's got a good memory.
Yeah. Okay.
And then July the 4th that year, they turned the LST over to the Philippine government in Manila. I went back to the island of Samoa in the Philippines, and they had me driving a bus to pick up the workers that worked for the Navy. I'd pick them up in the morning and take them back at night. And then they had a big draft, and half of the draft went to North Korea, and I was in the half that went back to the States. When I got back to the States, they put me in the mothball fleet in Alameda, California, working on the ships.
Okay. Alameda, you said?
Alameda, California.
She did? Oh, no, she didn't. No, but this is the family that I.
Okay. And what was the mothball fleet?
That was ships that weren't being used right now, but they wanted to keep them for service if they had to be put to work again. In other words, there were a ship with no crew on them. There was a bunch of them there. Mostly they were transport ships.
Okay, so they were putting mothballs.
Yeah.
That's probably what it sounded like. Okay. All right, and were you a yeoman? Were you, you know, what was your rank in the?
I was a
CB?
a plain ordinary sailor.
The seaman?
Sailor, okay. That's simpler than I even imagined.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I got finished with the mothball fleet, they sent me to Long Island here, and they discharged me.
Okay. Do you have any favorite memories? I mean, I know it's not a great assignment no matter where you're serving, but I know from all of my work with the veterans that they often make great, you know, friendships and with comrades, and that they have some highlighted memories. Do you have anything that stands out to you from that service time, or you just wanted to get out?
Just wanted to get out.
Okay, that's honest. Okay. When you rushed to enlist when you were only 17, was it anything like what you thought it was going to be?
What, the Navy?
Or just going to serve your country
I
at
wasn't
17?
sure where they were going to put me in the Navy.
So it was just I have to go and see what happens. Okay. So then after that, you well, after that, you went to college, right?
Yeah,
The
I got
Fordham.
free college for being in the Navy, so I went to 4 years at
Fordham.
Fordham.
Okay, and what was your degree in?
Labor management. While I was in college, my sophomore year, I got married.
Didn't you have a nickname, Grandpa, in college?
No, it was high school.
Oh, high school.
He went to Xavier High School in the city. What was your nickname at Xavier?
At Xavier,
Yeah.
Muggs.
No, Bulldog.
Oh, well,
I went to his 50th, or his 60th. I went with him, and my husband was with me, and we check in, and the person checking him in says, "Oh, Bulldog, it's so nice to see you." And we looked at him, where did that come from?
I played football and basketball in high school.
Okay.
So before I graduated, we had 2 children. So while I was in the last year of college, I took the police test. I had taken the fire test while I was a freshman, but the list was moving very slow. They were only appointing about 60 or 70 people a year, so I figured I wouldn't be made it. So that's why I took the cops test. I took the cops test, and about 2 years later, they changed they got up to where I was able to be appointed to the fire department. So I was a cop for 3 years, and then I went into the fire department.
And how long were you there?
I was in the fire department for 28 years.
Do you remember where you were stationed as a police officer, what precinct
The
you were in?
87th precinct in Brooklyn.
Ask him anything. And was that as a patrolman? Did
Yeah,
you move
yeah.
up?
Yeah.
Okay. And then where did you serve in the fire department? What house?
I served in Queens, Ladder 151, and then in Manhattan by the George Washington Bridge.
181st Street,
Yeah, and then
Bronx Zoo.
we had a strike in the fire department, so a lot of us got lifted, so they sent me over to the Bronx by the Bronx Zoo.
Is that where you finished out?
Yes,
Do you remember when that strike was?
pardon me?
Do you remember when the strike was?
I think it was in 1973. It was only a one-day strike.
Oh, okay. We'll say around.
Yeah.
Okay. Best memory being a cop? Best memory being a firefighter?
Yeah, what about it?
What was your best memory from
Oh,
either
the
of
fire
those?
department, yeah.
Okay. And what?
The cops, they sent me down to Coney Island every summer.
You didn't like that?
Well, they had me working with 7 other guys, there was 8 of us in a group, to check the cars because the cars were being stolen and everything else. So they had us there to watch that cars wouldn't be stolen. And then in the daytime, they had us chasing the ice cream people that were selling ice cream on the beach that didn't have a
Without a
license.
permit.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, if I'd known you'd done that, I would have had you do Great American Weekend. We always had vendors that were trying to horn in on the weekend without a permit. Okay, and how about with the fire department? Anything stand out as a great memory?
Oh, I loved the fire department, and it was very busy. I got knocked out with carbon monoxide poisoning, and they put me in
Columbia. Columbia Presbyterian.
Yeah, Columbia Presbyterian. While I was in there, the doctors came by, like 6 of them, to your bed, and they told me I had emphysema. So that day, I stopped smoking. 1973, I stopped smoking.
And what did you replace it with?
Lifesavers. And I used to give the kids, the smaller kids, when I was driving the school bus, lifesavers.
Birthdays, Christmas, whenever there was an occasion, he got lifesavers. Still has them. He's still eating them.
Now, Kathleen and Bridget told me about a story where you were, when you were a firefighter, you had to go out on a ladder into
Oh
the
yeah,
pond.
I went out by the World's Fair there, it was a big pond,
Flushing, okay.
and we put a 35-foot ladder out on the ice, and I was crawling out on the ladder. When I got near the end of it, the ice let go and I went into the water.
All this gear.
That got me scared because my boots filled up and I couldn't get up. But I reached up and I got the end of the ladder and they pulled me in.
But the child.
But that was a kid that was in there that had drowned. Him and his him and his sister were out playing on the ice, and he fell in, and she ran home to tell her mother what happened, and that's how we ended up there.
You were on the front page of the Daily News.
Yeah, they took pictures of me working on the kid, trying to.
Were firefighters also EMTs at that point?
No,
No.
no.
It was completely separate, okay. Okay, so then you're a bus driver up here.
I was a bus driver and a school bus driver at the same time. I had to get permission every year from the state to drive the school bus because you couldn't be on two pensions at the same time.
Double dipping. And,
But I drove every route in the school bus,
okay,
and when I was driving there, I'd be driving the kids that I drove their mothers and fathers.
do you
You
have
also
any,
worked in Middletown.
And I drove a year in Middletown before I got into the
Goshen.
Goshen.
and did you do some of the sports teams and field trips and that kind of stuff too? Like
I
when
mean,
they went to the
we're
city?
taking the kids?
As a,
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
bus driver.
yeah.
Used to drive the bus. You used to drive the bus to the ski trips with
Yeah,
your
the
kids
ski-
competing.
And anything to the city.
Yeah, he liked driving to the city.
Any favorite memories in your time as a bus driver?
Oh, I had a lot of fun with the kids, yeah.
They
I had no
called him-
trouble with them, thank God,
They called him Mr. Potato Head.
yeah.
And what did you say to them?
One was, Matilda was, the girls, they called them Matilda, and Charlie was for the,
Charlie Brown.
Charlie for the boys.
Was that just a cute thing, or did you not remember any of their names?
No, no, just kidding with them.
Okay.
Down and around, Charlie Brown.
Sit down and
Down and
be
around.
quiet.
Down and around.
Okay. What if you have it, I'm sure you have a million memories with your family. Any that stand out? You know, I know some of your kids were a little on the mischievous
What,
side.
about my family?
No.
They're all more or less the same. The girls and the boys were the same.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
Too bad we didn't know that growing up. The girls had to go in the kitchen to make dinner and the boys sat and watched sports with you. Yeah, we were the same.
Yeah.
Do you remember leaving Kevin behind?
No, oh yeah, we went to,
We were going upstate for the summer.
no, it was that
Catskill Game Farm?
Catskill game
Oh.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
And we stopped at a restaurant there or something.
Yeah.
An apple rest?
No, it was a different one, but
Oh.
we stopped at a restaurant and left them.
But we got out in the car and, where's Kevin?
We were driving along and Mommy turned around and said, I think somebody's missing. And it was Kevin, so we turned around and went back and got him,
We had a station wagon with blankets and pillows, so everybody was kinda
laying around in the
laying
back.
around.
Yeah, that was a good station,
So
baby.
7
Seven
kids.
passenger.
I look at some of the cars that we all had back then and I'm thinking, how did we manage to survive that? Because, you'd have 4 kids in a car that is meant for 3.
Yeah.
You're like,
But that
5
seven
kids.
passenger was a great car.
We had the seat that
But
looked
it's backwards. You'd have
Mhm.
You
to
could look at the traffic
not get
back.
nauseous,
So
yes.
we used to fight over that seat. Who was gonna sit back there?
how many times did you change on your journey? Were you
climb
able
over
to
the
swap
seat?
out? Yeah, swap out
Oh,
and
yeah.
say, it's my turn.
Yep.
Have you been keeping up with, before the coronavirus, were you still going to the senior center or?
Oh, yeah, I was playing cards 3 times a week.
Till November.
Wednesdays and Fridays,
till you
From-
fell.
from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
Till you fell in November
Yeah.
25th when you fell. And that, he hasn't been back since.
Well, they're reopening, they're hoping to reopen on July 6th or 7th. So put that on your calendar.
Frankie
that's
George
right.
calls here all the time, see how.
I hope I get out.
Well, we can bring you out, you'll
Yeah.
just have to stay in the wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, I sit in the wheelchair anyway while I'm playing
Well,
cards.
you sat in your walker, but now you'll be in the wheelchair. Yeah, the plan is to go back whenever it opens up again.
Did, when you fell, did you
Yes.
break anything?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, my hand
your wrist.
Your
His
wrist.
wrist,
My
part of
wrist.
his pelvis.
and a rib over here. That was the last fall. I had a couple of falls before that.
He did.
Okay. And you did all your rehab at Orange Regional, or did
No,
you have to
I
go to
was-
Valley View?
I was in,
Middletown Park.
Middletown Park for a short time. That we don't wanna mention because they put
I
him
was
in
in
renal
the-
failure. And
Sapphire.
took him back to the hospital, but Sapphire up here by Arden Hill, that was very good. He
He
did
liked
very
it there
well.
and
Yeah.
they did a wonderful job with the rehab.
He just didn't like the food. We had to bring him 3 meals a day up because he wouldn't eat their food.
it was a great hospital, I mean, a rehab. That- What is it?
Sapphire.
Sapphire.
Yeah.
Beautiful, kept it clean, and all the help was great, but the food was for birds.
Birds. And since we all live so close here,
Yeah.
between the two of us, all 3 meals he
Yeah, I
had.
got breakfast.
Yeah, that was because you lived with him. You got the choice spot.
And then lunch, and we got dinner.
Yeah, most of
But
the
the
time.
help there was great.
Okay. If you ran into somebody at the senior center or in the neighborhood and they didn't know you very well, what would you tell them about yourself? To give them an idea of what a phenomenal life you've had. What would you say?
I wouldn't really tell them that I had a phenomenal life, to tell you the
He's the
truth.
man
I'd
of
just tell them I
mystery.
had a nice family. We had 10 children,
Grandma lost the rest.
and I worked as a bus driver and a fireman at the same time for 28 years. I always played cards at the senior citizens every week, 3 days
Three times a week, yeah.
And you went to 7 o'clock mass at St. John's.
Yeah.
Dragged your poor daughter, made you get up and go with them.
Until I got wise and said 10 o'clock or nothing. Then I go to church after I drop him off.
And you're the last of the Mulligans.
What?
The last of the he and his sisters. That's
Yeah.
it. Like he's
Last
the patriarch on that side.
Did you figure out how many cousins? you
I have that all. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
Well, one of my
Sisters.
my
Aunt
sister
Marie.
has 28 grandchildren. I think she had 12, and my other sister, I think, had 11 or 12, and I only had 10.
Slacker.
Oh yeah, when I got the numbers, one of them had what 46 great grandchildren.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, so
yeah.
she'll give you the numbers.
It was outstanding.
And he had 3 sisters, and if one of them hadn't been a nun, there would have been another 10, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my oldest sister was a nun.
Okay.
And what a nun.
Do you remember where she was?
But
What church or
oh,
denomination?
she was in the Bronx and Upper Manhattan.
She was a sister of mercy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My aunt was in the same order. That was my mother's sister.
Aunt
Was a
Margaret.
Sister of Mercy. She was at 116th Street.
Anything else you'd like to share?
No, that's about it.
You got any card tips?
He watches Fox News religiously. When he gets up, he goes to bed at night, and his Yankees.
Oh, yeah, Yankees.
My Lord.
We have some remembrances for my brothers with
So
Yankee
now he's
games and
watching
stuff
all
that
the
he had.
reruns for Yankees, just like it would be
Yeah.
no more Yankees.
I'm so disgusted with that whole thing. These guys make so much money, and to be holding back because they might get paid a few thousand less than if they just started playing. It's like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay. Any of you guys have anything else you wanna?
No, when I left home, he got a beautiful in-ground swimming pool.
You know where he got it? I put it in for him with Grandpa Considine's money.
But I'm saying, it was after I left home,
Yeah.
it was like, yo, well, I missed that one. Before that, we had those round pools. My brothers used to get up on the roof and jump in the pool.
Yeah, you enjoyed having that pool at the house, right?
Yeah, we had a nice summer home with a pool, 2 acres. Yeah.
It was a regular home. It was our home on Ridge
In
Road.
the summertime, I'd have all my cousins and everybody come up. So we had a
Oh, our
long, I put
reunions,
up a
that's
tent.
right.
Yeah, we have a couple of reunions.
One son had a band, so we had a band. So I had to invite all the people that lived around me to come too, so they wouldn't be
Oh, our
hollering about
reunions
them.
were so big, I mean, the cars all over the road, the lawn.
I
Every
think I
year we had.
remember a few of those.
Pardon?
You know,
You
I
do?
think I remember a
You
few of
probably
those
were
being at
king
Kathy's
or-
house
yeah.
sometime. Yeah, my best friend all through high school was Kathy Craig.
Oh,
lived
geez, you
next
must
door
have
to you
come.
guys.
Yeah.
You know, and I was in school with a couple of your sons.
Yeah, Terry, I think, right?
Terry, I think, was a little younger, and
Kevin.
Kevin and John.
Yeah.
some, you know, the '70s were kind of a blur. Kids were. I was involved in a lot of things, so I never really paid attention to what class people were in.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
I
they
don't
were
think
in
anybody
band, they
did,
were
yeah.
in, you know, different things. So
Oh yeah, our reunions were well known.
Yeah, my older cousin of the 13, his wife and I said, none of our kids knew each other. I had Bridget and Jerry, and they didn't know each other. that's when we first decided to have the reunion, because I had all of these cousins, and then the other cousins, the 10 from my Aunt Marie, and we didn't know their families, we didn't know their children. So my son, I guess the first reunion, he was about 3, and my other cousin who decided to do this with me, his son, the third son, they were always ahead of me, was the same age as my son Jerry. Just later on when the band came up and the blend was playing all over the place, they were playing up at the college, he stayed with the kid when he first met at the first reunion when he was the same age, the 2 of them.
Everybody brought their guitars and we were jamming
Yeah,
all
there's
night long.
music in the family. My mom sang, and every generation has given the music gene to somebody, you know, in the family, in our family. So my mom had it, my brother John got it, my son Jerry got it, your son,
My son Josh.
Josh got it. Yep, so we'll see what happens with the next generation. Parker plays the saxophone now.
Good
So,
for him.
yeah, we're encouraging it, see what it actually takes.
What grade is he in? Is he in 5th?
He's going into 5th, yeah.
Any comments on, you know, how crazy the world has become in the last few years?
It's crazy, yeah. I mean, they ask for things that they know it's impossible to carry out.
Like the cops get rid
Like
of
the cops, you know? You can't do away with a policeman.
What was it like when you were on the street, either as a firefighter or as a policeman? Did you have that kind of tension or stress among the force, or?
To tell you the truth, I wasn't too happy as a cop, because they sent me down to Coney Island. And then
Domestic.
otherwise, we were working nights, like all night long, 8 of us, like in a group. So I wasn't really happy with the as you say, people weren't, it was in an Italian neighborhood there, the 87, and they didn't like the cops either, you know. Well, we didn't like them either because they were in the mafia.
He went on a domestic and they ended up beating the heck out of him. The wife and the husband.
Wow.
So the fire department was a little safer.
Yeah. Yeah, when they had the riots in Harlem, they would throw TV sets off the roof at the firemen.
Throwing the refrigerators and stuff off the roof down out on them. That's when they start building protection on the fire boats. I mean, on the fire hook and ladders and the engines. They had to put protection up, you know, boards and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you used to drive the hook and ladder, right?
Yeah.
And that was he was the guy at the end going around the
No, he
corners.
was the one driving it in the front.
Oh, he drove the ladder. Dad, didn't you drive the ladder in the back?
Yeah, I drove. Well, that's the first thing you do when you go in the truck company. They make you go on the tiller, coming back from the fires to get used to driving the tiller. Because you know, when you go around the corner, that thing used to hang out. You could hit the cars. So you gotta be careful.
How fun was that?
It was, let's just say it was very hard for him to give up his license and his car. That was pretty hard for you, right? Wasn't it? Yeah. Because you've been driving, when did you start driving? How old were you? Were you start driving when you were 17? Or did
Yeah,
Grandpa
yeah,
have a
yeah.
car?
Yeah.
Did Grandpa Mulligan have a car?
No. No.
No, so when did you start driving? In the Navy?
No. I drove before that. I think because they wouldn't let you drive it unless you knew how to drive. I don't know. I must have drove. I forget now.
Okay. I never asked you that before,
Yeah.
when you started driving.
He was driving in the Philippines, buses to pick people up.
family.
His family's spread out all over now. We've got 2 in Utah, 1 in Florida, 1 in Pennsylvania, and 3 girls in Goshen.
Well, no, the
Goshen
Middletown.
Middletown.
I think I have everything I need,
Okay.
and, unless there's something else you wanna comment on,
No,
I appreciate your time,
okay.
and, I think of you often, because we don't do the papers anymore either, so, we stopped doing that when Doug was diagnosed with Parkinson's, so he wasn't up to doing the papers anymore. But when my husband retired from teaching, he did the paper route, because John Ziobro from Hamilton Park used to teach with him in Newburgh, and he was 5-10 years older, and he'd been doing a route, so he found one for Doug, and before he had a chance to think about, well, do we really want to do this? And it turned out to be a godsend, because my daughter got sick quite a bit and was in and out of hospitals in New York, so it was one of the few jobs that you could get or do
Yeah.
and still
have-
have the time to take me to the city or bring us back or whatever.
Yeah.
So he had a handyman business too, but that got kind of shut to hell.
Yeah, I had a paper route when I was a kid. Long Island Daily Press.
And you worked at the ice cream place.
Schraff's, you work at Schraff's and chock full of nuts.
Yeah.
He used to bring home the donuts, and chock full of nuts, the
I
chocolate
worked-
ones and the
worked
regular
in-
ones.
Fruit and vegetable store. I worked in a tailor shop delivering stuff. And I was, when I was in high school, I guess, I started working in construction as a laborer.
And you
Always had 2 jobs.
I was gonna say, you always had 2 or 3 jobs.
Yeah. And kids were making me broke.
Well, that's why you got people living with you now. It's called payback.
And then for them to take up skiing, I had to buy boots.
Well, yeah, that's an expensive
do
sport.
skis and,
But you, the 3 of us,
I didn't do
no,
skiing.
and John didn't either. The first 3 kids didn't ski. After that, it was lots of ski
I
stuff.
couldn't take the cold.
Kevin and
I couldn't
Terry.
manage the slopes.
Marion, where's this thing for white cars?
Dee Dee has it. Yeah, Dee Dee borrowed it.
Want to borrow it?
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to show her the
Didn't-
lunch box.
Didn't we have pictures of, from up there, all the boys and girls?
The reunions, you mean, and
Yeah,
stuff?
No, the pictures in the living room.
Oh, yeah, we've got some pictures that we've given her. Let me see what we've got in the other room.
I'll show you the family he lived with in the Philippines. He used to drive around.
These were the kind of pictures my dad had too. He had an album like this with the black thing.
This is their 50th, right? Their 50th
Yeah.
wedding anniversary
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
My son was missing. He got a free trip to Amsterdam. We were gonna pencil him in. And
now you
then
can
this is
Photoshop
part of the family at one of the weddings. Yeah,
I'm
but
not
that's
there.
no, you weren't at the wedding.
Wow.
I don't think I was either. I didn't go to Frankie's wedding. We had to limit to the kid that was the best friend of the cousin that was getting married as the first person, and then usually the oldest of the children. So I got a lot of wedding invitations because I was the oldest. Well, like my brother John was the best friend of the guy getting married there, so he went. We have, but this is just the immediate. family.
Invitation for board and university graduation.
Oh, yeah, this is just the brothers, these are just the brothers and sisters. This is just the 7 of us with our spouses. We didn't put the grandchildren in this one. We have another one with all the grandchildren in it too.
Can Bridget send me that one?
Yeah.
But this was a great school. St.
Yeah, I
Francis
like it.
Xavier on 16th Street, the Jesuits,
Okay.
great school.
And here was his graduation announcement. And then his fireman picture.
That was, I think, on the George Washington Bridge, yeah.
And you're on the bridge.
Yeah.
There's a Navy picture.
You should be able to see him. We marked him.
Here's Aunt Crotier's.
He was marked. Well, no, this is Crotier's and Trainers together.
That's Crotier's.
This is his sister with her kids.
Could have started a town, huh?
Hmm?
Yep.
Could have started your own town.
Yeah. And this has got both Trainers and Crotier's.
Well, that's not all the kids.
No, that's just a combination of a few.
Now they're
But his sister
Grandkids.
looked just like him when they were getting older. Sister Marie, that was the youngest. She's got quite a family. They're good kids too.
most of them are lawyers, right?
No, just Billy.
Billy the lawyer.
And Bill's the only one. Okay. Here, I don't know where you got those.
Stick them in there. Got bins and bins of
We had
pictures.
fun looking through the pictures.
I know we had pictures
We have boxes
in the
of,
back.
Yeah, we got
the
two of
sides.
those.
yes, we're gonna
Filled
find
up the
them.
whole-
Yeah, that's my grandparents' house in Queens. It's my grandmother and grandfather, my mom's parents.
And you and your wife went to school together, right?
No, they went to
didn't
different
know.
schools.
You
No.
went to different
Yes,
schools?
no, in Middle Village.
Yeah,
Middle Village. She was in the 8th grade and I was in the 8th grade, but I didn't know her.
but you were in the same class?
No, the girls and the boys,
Oh, they
Yeah.
were separate.
Separate.
yeah. But I didn't even know her then, no.
I'm trying to remember, when did you guys meet each other then? In the neighborhood, I know you,
On Queens Boulevard,
yeah.
Bar and Grill, where they had dancing, no, where they had
Okay.
dancing.
Yeah, my mother was quite a dancer.
Well, those are people in Ireland, we're not sure who they are. I don't even know if we can even recognize who they are. We have a couple of boxes of pictures we're gonna go through. My brother and my sister.
Yeah, we used to take a lot of
We'll all
pictures.
be together for Father's Day here. That's my grandfather, my mother's father, adopted father.
I had pictures in all those pages, but they kept taking pictures.
And that's my parents' wedding.
You're quite the dashing young man.
Yeah. Sure was.
I've often said that it's just so unfair for us to change so much to get, when we get old. You know, it just doesn't seem
It beats
fair.
the alternative though, so.
Hmm?
It beats the alternative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's my
I wore my mother's
grandfather.
wedding dress when I got married. I used to play in it when I was a kid, walking up and down the hallway. And I said to my mom, I said, "Oh, wear this when I get married, Mom." And she says, "Oh, yeah, okay." So I'd play in it all the time, and then when I got married, I said, "Well, I want to wear your wedding dress."
Yeah, who's this, Dad?
I was hit with the beach. Sorry. Yeah, they took a lot of beach pictures. They used to go to Rockaway all the time. That's my mom.
That's
She's very
Frank,
pretty.
Frankie George.
That's Frank?
Yeah, this one, yeah.
That doesn't look like him.
Yeah.
Where?
Hey,
That doesn't look like Frank.
is that Frank?
That's not Frank.
No, that's not
No?
Frank.
Nope. Definitely not Frank.
Yeah, looks like him.
She's a pretty classy lady.
Mom was beautiful.
And here are the end pictures.
You can almost imagine what life was like when you look at photos this
yeah.
old, you know, how much simpler it was and chaotic maybe, but simpler.
Well, when my dad was working, my grandparents had a house in Washingtonville, summer home. It was just a bungalow. And we'd spend half the summer loading up the car. Every weekend he'd come up from work with the stuff that we needed, our bikes, the pillows, everything. And then the other half of the summer was bringing everything back down to Queens. So my poor father was like running back and forth all the time trying to bring the stuff up that we needed. Then my mother didn't drive, so we used to walk from Beaver Dam Lake to
Salisbury Mills.
Salisbury Mills to get the mail, to get
Wow.
the paper, to get groceries, and she'd be walking on the road with
And that's when we would pass Mel
With the
Gibson's
baby
house.
carriage.
She
Finally
finally
knew he
decided.
was gonna become Mel Gibson.
We didn't know it at the time.
Don't think he did either. Okay. So Bridget will send me
Yeah,
the movie.
she's got all kinds of, I forgot we were recording. She's got all kinds of, stuff back from my brothers and stuff too, that you can just pick through and decide what you wanna use. Okay,
It's awesome.
thank you, this was very nice for you to come here.
Just, you know,
Bridget's gonna take a couple pictures of this.
yeah, just tell her the sooner the better because.
Yeah, she'll
I'd
have it
like
to you
run
tonight, yeah.
Yeah, I really wanna run it.
She'll put it through again. Okay,
Awesome.
yeah, we required everybody to respond by today.
Well, it was good catching up with
Okay.
you, John. Kinda missed dropping mom and dad off there at the senior center.
Yeah, just let us know if you hear anything about it, you know.
Well, I got
appreciate
an email from Bonnie Majewski last night, cause I
Okay.
asked her what, you know, was going on. And I wanted to know, you know, she's got, her son is up at Center for Discovery up in Sullivan County. And they haven't been able to have any kind of a visit since March. The last time the son was home was in February for a weekend. And then, you know, they haven't even been allowed for any kind of a visit. Supposedly in the next week or so, she'll be able to go for an hour. So we'll drive for an hour, stay for an hour, and drive back for an hour.
I live up in Roscoe. Well, I lived up. I've been here about 7 years. But I have a house up in Roscoe. And I haven't been up there so long.
Well, thankfully that
Okay.
area didn't get hit as hard as we did.
Right,
No.
yeah.
But, you know, they're still on the slow train when it comes to, you know, a lot of the kids with special needs and whatnot. They don't understand. You know, their son is autistic and he's not
I worked
terribly
in Boston
visual.
for 18 years.
So, you know, it's difficult. I
It's
feel bad
important for them to have a schedule every day and, you know, not to be left out. Schooling is so important for them.
Fingers crossed that they all get to go back to a normal schedule in the fall.
I heard they're not going back to school in September.
Well, we don't know, we'll have to wait and see. If we keep closed the way we've been in New York, I mean, it's amazing what we were able to
Well,
actually do here compared to the other states.
I retired this year because I didn't really work, so I got out just in time.
Really.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
No shaking hands.
Elbow.
No, you gotta do
Yeah.
the elbow.
I'll trip. I tried that once. I tried to do a funny little elbow tap.